From book brigade to viral success. 1.6 million TikTok views. A People magazine feature. 300 volunteers stepping up. This small bookstore didn't just survive a crisis, they went viral. And here's how you can turn your next challenge into PR and profit. In today's world where attention is currency, stories like this prove you don't need a big budget to create a big impact. What happened in Chelsea, Michigan is a powerful blueprint for building influence, income, and impact. I'm Aurora Winter, founder of Same Page Publishing, and this is Strategic Basics. Let's break it down. On Sunday, April 13th, 2025, Serendipity Books, a beloved bookstore in Chelsea, Michigan, needed to relocate, but instead of hiring movers, the owner put out a heartfelt call for help. The response was overwhelming. More than 300 volunteers aged 6 to 91 bundled up against the spring chill and formed a book brigade. They passed out 9,000 books hand to hand along a 300-foot human chain. What could have been a costly, stressful ordeal turned into a celebration of literacy, community, and goodwill. In just under 2 hours, the store's entire inventory was moved and shelved in the right order in the new location. On Instagram, Serendipity Books posted, quote, "Today this community showed up beyond our wildest dreams. In just under 2 hours, around 300 of you moved our entire bookstore from old store to new. Grateful doesn't even begin to express how we are feeling." End quote. Books weren't the only thing traveling down that human chain. Stories, smiles, and connections were too. As Michelle Tuplin, the owner of the bookstore, told Associated Press, quote, "As people passed the books along, they said, 'I've not read this,' and 'that's a good one,' end quote." You might wonder, that's heartwarming, but what does it have to do with building my brand or launching my book? Everything. Serendipity Books didn't just move books, they moved hearts. They deepened loyalty, sparked joy, and built a movement that people wanted to be part of. When that spirit was captured on video and shared on TikTok, it took off, racking up over 1.6 million views and celebrating the power of community and story. But what many people didn't see behind the scenes was the uncertainty. Michelle Tuplin didn't know if anyone would actually show up. She put out the invitation hoping, but without any guarantees. When hundreds of volunteers of all ages arrived at 1 p.m. on Sunday, ready to pass books, she broke down in tears of gratitude. Quote, "I really didn't know if it would work," she told People magazine. "I just had to trust that people cared enough to come," end quote. That vulnerability, the courage to ask for help, is what made this story so magnetic. It tapped into something deeper, a shared love of books, of community, of connection. Bookstores hold a special place in our hearts. They certainly do with mine. They represent relationships, creativity, and care, values that go far beyond business transactions. In a world dominated by algorithms and automation these days, this story reminded millions of the soul of small business. The heartfelt moment earned Serendipity Books a feature in People magazine, capturing how they didn't just move inventory, they moved the spirit of an entire town and captured imaginations around the world. The 300 volunteers weren't paid, they came out of pure love for books, for community, for each other. It's a stunning reminder that people are hungry to belong to something meaningful and that leaders who invite them in can create real magic. Here are the 3 takeaways. Number 1, flip problems into opportunities. Every cloud has a silver lining if you're willing to think outside the box, or in this case, outside the bookstore. Number 2, engage your community. People want to help. Give them a simple but meaningful role to play. And number 3, capture it on camera, film the moment, share it. But that's just what I think. What about you? What's your biggest takeaway from this story? What challenge could you turn into a PR win? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Aurora Winter, and this is Strategic Basics, where we take breaking news stories and turn them into actionable strategies you can use to build your business, book, and brand. Be sure to like and subscribe. It makes a world of difference. To wrap this up, in an era of AI, automation, and endless noise, it's genuine human connection that moves people. That can lead to a viral moment and millions of views. It can spark goodwill and build the value of your brand. It can change the story forever. If you want help turning your ideas into income, I have a gift for you. You can grab my award-winning book, Turn Words into Wealth, for free at turnwordsintowealth.com, or get the print copy from Amazon or your favorite bookstore. I am so excited to share this story with you today. It is one of my favorite rags to riches stories that's heartwarming and super inspiring. Colleen Hoover's epic rise to stardom. Well, today's story is all about grit, guts, and what happens when you bet on yourself. It's about a woman who went from working odd jobs, living paycheck to paycheck, and writing at her kitchen table to incredibly selling 20 million books, topping every bestseller list, and now landing major film deals with Hollywood A-listers and being profiled in Hollywood Reporter and People magazine this month, April 2025. So today we're diving into the extraordinary rise of Colleen Hoover and what makes her journey teach us all about authorship, entrepreneurship, and building a brand that moves markets. Let's get started. I'm Aurora Winter, TV writer, producer, and the founder of Same Page Publishing. And this is Strategic Basics, where we turn today's headlines into tomorrow's opportunities with actionable strategies for authors, entrepreneurs, experts, and thought leaders. In 2011, Colleen Hoover was a social worker living in Sausalito, Texas, a tiny town most people have never heard of. She was married to Heath Hoover and raising 3 sons together, Cale, Levi, Beckham, and they were struggling to make ends meet. She's made no secret about that. Money was tight. She was scraping to pay bills. Sometimes she even had to put groceries on credit. There was no fancy literary agent, no book deal. Just one thing, a dream and a story that she couldn't ignore. In January 2012, she self-published her first novel, Slammed, inspired by her favorite song by the Avett Brothers. With zero marketing budget and no major platform, she uploaded it to Amazon at KDP Kindle, hoping that maybe, just maybe, somebody would stumble across it. Well, they did. Within weeks, readers started buzzing. Bloggers amplified it. The rawness, the heart, the authenticity captivated people. By summer 2012, Slammed had gone from nothing to hitting the New York Times bestseller list. A dream that once seemed impossible became reality. And that was just the beginning. Fast forward a decade, Colleen Hoover has sold over 20 million books worldwide. In 2022, she pulled off the unthinkable: 8 books simultaneously on the New York Times bestseller list. Her impact on TikTok's Book Talk is legendary, with over 3 billion views tagged as Colleen Hoover. Wow. Readers didn't just love her books, they loved the roller coaster emotional experience of reading them. They cried on camera, they filmed dramatic reactions, they made book events. And then came the next phase, Hollywood. In April 2025, Amazon MGM Studios announced that Verity, her dark, disturbing psychological thriller, would be made into a major motion picture set for a theatrical release May 15th, 2026. And the all-star cast, it is stacked. Wow. Anne Hathaway stars as Verity Crawford, the chilling author at the heart of the mystery. Her breakthrough role, by the way, was in Disney's The Princess Diaries. I loved that film. Her films have grossed over $6 billion. Dakota Johnson plays Lowen Ashley, the struggling writer hired to finish Verity's series. She's the daughter, by the way, of Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith. So it comes from a big, wide Hollywood family. And Josh Hartnett plays Jeremy Crawford, Verity's charming, mysterious husband. He recently experienced a career resurgence with his role as Ernest Lawrence. The project is directed by Michael Showalter. He's known for The Big Sick and The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which were both commercial and critical hits. And the best news, I think, is that Colleen herself is executive producing, marking her entry into film production. Wow. From writing on her kitchen table to executive producing a Hollywood blockbuster. Pretty amazing. And Verity is not the only adaptation. Colleen Hoover's beloved novel, It Ends With Us, is also headed to the big screen, starring Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Other projects like Reminders of Him and Regretting You are quietly in development too. Colleen Hoover didn't just build a brand, she built an empire. Good for her. As People magazine reported in April 2025, quote, Hoover's first self-published Verity in 2018 before it topped the New York Times bestseller list for months, selling over 1 million copies in 2023 alone. The film's synopsis reveals that, like Hoover's novel, the movie will follow Lowen, a struggling writer who gets the job offer of a lifetime, quote unquote. During an August 2024 appearance on Barely Famous, Hoover stated that, despite having over 20 best-selling novels, penning Verity was her favorite writing experience, end quote. If you're unfamiliar with the book Verity, here's the core. Lowen Ashley, a struggling author on the brink of ruin, is offered the opportunity of a lifetime. Watch out for those. Finish the best-selling series of acclaimed but incapacitated author Verity Crawford. When Lowen moves into Verity's home to sort through her notes, she finds something chilling. Dun, dun, dun. A hidden autobiography packed with terrifying confessions about the tragic deaths of Verity's children. Ooh, I get chills. The deeper Lowen digs, the more questions arise about Verity's accident and her marriage. It's dark, it's suspenseful, it's the kind of gripping narrative that is perfectly suited for the big screen. Colleen Hoover generally writes romance, which is the most popular category of book, but this book also contains the mystery thriller suspense category, which is the #2 best-selling category on Amazon. This one's got both. And Verity has been on the New York Times list for 154 weeks. Amazing, 154 weeks. Good for her. It's number 14 today on the New York Times list. Looking at the New York Times bestseller paperback trade list today, as of recording, April 29th, 2025, it is packed with thrillers, including 4 of the top 15 by one of my favorite authors, Freida McFadden. She has #2, #5, #6, and #12. Like Colleen Hoover, Freida McFadden started out self-published, and now she combines self-publishing with various strategic partnerships, which is a good plan and one I'll recommend for you. Anyway, more on Freida McFadden later, but her books are #2, The Housemaid, which has been on the list for 104 weeks, The Crash, #5 on the New York Times list, 12 weeks on the list, #6, Ward D, 7 weeks on the list, and #12 by Freida McFadden on the New York Times list, which has been there for 25 weeks, The Boyfriend. So a couple other books that you might want to check out in addition to Verity. As you can see, the New York Times bestseller trade paperback list is dominated by mystery thriller suspense books. Given the high demand for mystery thriller suspense, my client, Michael Stockham, decided to write a series of legal thrillers. This makes sense for him because he is a successful litigation attorney. He's had a long time desire to become a successful author like John Grisham or James Patterson. But he didn't have the time because he was slammed with his career. And that's when he found me at Same Page Publishing and got the help to make the process easier and faster. We are working on a series of 9 legal thrillers about Jake Fox. The first 3 are titled Jake Fox Ties That Blind, Jake Fox Don't Forsake Me, and Jake Fox The Rest of the Wicked. I also helped him publish his first novel, Confessions of an Accidental Lawyer. Right now, he's got over 2.5 million pages read of his popular award-winning books. And this is what I do at Same Page Publishing. I love helping busy executives, experts, and entrepreneurs write, publish, and promote best-selling, award-winning books so they can launch to the next level as thought leaders. If you would like help turning your dreams of authorship into reality, check out the success stories at samepagepublishing.com, and you can apply for a business breakthrough call at bookcall.biz. Okay, back to the news and Colleen Hoover's inspiring story, but I wanted to share that little bit about me and Same Page Publishing in case that was something you were looking for. So despite her immense success, Colleen Hoover stays grounded. She still lives in East Texas, now in a sprawling farmhouse she calls her quote-unquote dream home, but without a hint of that Hollywood flash and excess. Meanwhile, Colleen Hoover is still writing. In February 2025, she released Never Never, a romantic thriller co-written with Taryn Fisher. And she's announced a new romance duology. The first book is expected late 2025. So she's not slowing down. She is evolving. And here's why Book Talk really fell in love with Colleen Hoover. It wasn't luck, it wasn't marketing, it was emotional architecture. Colleen Hoover's books are emotional roller coasters. They deliver catharsis, a psychological release that readers crave. Book Talk readers, many of them are young adults, they're navigating love and loss and identity, and they bonded fiercely with her characters and with each other. TikTok videos crying over Colleen Hoover's book, It Ends With Us, or gasping at Verity became badges of honor. Reading her books wasn't just entertainment. It was an experience. In a digital world where loneliness and disconnection are epidemics, Hoover's stories offered something profound: connection, meaning, and emotion. And by the way, success hasn't made her selfish. In fact, it amplified her generosity. I always say that money is a magnifier. Whoever you are, you become that more so with money. As you know, many of my clients are philanthropists, and their generosity is just amplified as they get more and more successful. Hoover founded the Bookworm Box, which was a bookstore and subscription service with all profits going to charity. In the decade that it was operational, the Bookworm Box donated over $1 million to various causes, helping families, children, and communities in need. Good for her. Again, Colleen Hoover turned her platform into purpose, and that made her fans love her even more. So back to the strategic takeaways for you, because at Strategic Basics, we turn today's headlines into tomorrow's opportunities. Here is what Colleen Hoover's story teaches authors, or anybody building a brand today. 1, get started right now, today. There is no such thing as writer's block. You don't want to die with your stories inside. Get started now. Writer's block is just perfectionism or imposter syndrome disguised. Just get going. Number 2, evoke emotion. Readers want to feel something. Lead them on a roller coaster ride. And number 3, be sure that you retain ownership of your IP or intellectual property. Books today are seeds for brands, for films, for courses, for podcasts, and so much more. Your intellectual property is a valuable asset, so keep ownership of it. I mean, that's one of the reasons that wonderful Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling is a billionaire, because she maintained ownership of the digital rights to Harry Potter. So Colleen Hoover's story reminds us you don't need a fancy degree, you don't need an agent, you don't need $1 million, you don't even need permission, but you do need a vision, a voice, and the courage to put it out there again and again and again. From scraping by in Sausalito, Texas, to owning a multi-million-dollar storytelling empire, Colleen Hoover is inspiration for us all, and she's living proof that messages move markets and your words have power. I'm Aurora Winter, TV writer-producer, award-winning author and screenwriter, and founder of Sane Page Publishing. And this is Strategic Basics, where we take a fresh look at current events through the lens of marketing mastery and business growth. Be sure to like and subscribe for more current events, clear strategy, and powerful messaging.